I'm just really numb. I need to start my life over again at 58.
I don't like Ed right now. I feel absolutely humiliated, played, used.
I now got to think about, do I hire a cleaning lady or do I start, cleaning the house myself?
What's good, homies? Welcome to another episode of Big Ed being the worst person on earth. Make sure you drop a like if you've been enjoying these reactions. I love the support you guys have been showing on these videos. And without any further ado, let's catch up with Big Ed and Liz as they're finally meeting face to face after officially breaking up. And things are hella awkward as you'd expect. But anyways, let's get right on into it, shall we?
Is there anything else you feel like you're missing?
No, I have everything right here.
You remember you're not coming back here, right?
And we start things off with a extremely sad scene as Liz and her daughter are pretty much packing up most of their belongings. Liz can't take everything of hers because, well, she moved her entire life down here with Ed to Arkansas. But for now, they're flying back to San Diego or wherever the hell they came from. She's going to try to figure out what she's going to do with the rest of her life. And thankfully, her daughter is not going to be in this situation anymore, caught up between these two adults that are mentally the same age as her, that are just fighting and bickering 24/7. That, again, is just the worst case scenario in this entire relationship, is that affecting her. So thankfully they're moving away, but man, is this sad right now.
I did have to have a talk with Riley saying that the wedding was no longer happening, that Ed's not going to be in her life anymore. She's disappointed.
And as somebody who is, the child of divorced parents, it really does suck having to go through the cycle of your parents trying to find love and bringing people in and out of your lives over and over. So I can really resonate with Riley in the situation, and I'm sure many of you out there can as well. That's why I do joke about this couple, but honestly, on a very serious note, it's good that they're getting this over with now so that they don't just continue to fight around this girl, because that is bound to mess up any kid, for a very long time.
Right now, it's very painful to be around Ed. He never cares to talk or anything. So Riley and I are gonna go back to San Diego for a little bit.
So in classic narcissistic fashion, which we all know, Ed is just a full-blown raging narcissist, and the damage that he inflicts on Liz and her family is all because of his narcissistic tendencies. He's just deciding to completely stonewall this woman. Like, dude, you already got her to break up with you. You can at least treat her with respect and not make things so tense and awkward by pretty much acting like she doesn't exist, but that's exactly his play right now. Yet another cowardly move by Big Ed. At this point, if anybody out there has any shred of respect for this man for any reason, I hope it is just slowly withering away as you watch this play out and you see how much of a man-child he's behaving like.
Because I truly don't know where to go from here. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do for work. I can only move forward with my real estate license in Arkansas.
And this man has just been nefarious with this breakup. I mean, the timing of it cannot be construed any way other than him being purely malicious and trying to destroy this woman's life. Whether or not he knew he was doing this, he got her to move down here, change careers completely. They've been working on this real estate license. And now if she breaks up with him and actually wants to go home to her family and what little stability she has in her life, she pretty much has to give up and restart on the real estate license in California, which I'm guessing might be a much more competitive market and much more difficult to get established out there. He just completely ruined her life, and he can continue living in Arkansas with his family now, trying to thrive being a real estate agent himself or whatever the hell he wants to do. It's just absolutely cruel, and Liz is getting the trash end of this bargain pretty much every single corner.
I mean, I completely gave up everything to move out here. Everything. It's not easy, but I eventually do have to come back when I figure out what I want to do.
And I think that's the clip we saw in last week's video. If you guys saw that at the very end, I showed a clip of him fighting with Liz and her mom as they're moving stuff out of her house. So that was further in the future than I thought. But yeah, it sounds like she's going to go back home to home base, try to figure out what the hell she's going to do. And then, and only then, is she going to interact with Ed some more and try to figure out what she's going to do with the rest of her stuff. Also, it cannot be cheap moving across the country like that. So having to do that twice in a very short amount of time frame with no job yourself has got to be so stressful. Just another L lined up for Liz here, and I'm starting to feel really bad for her, but again, this has just all been so predicted for so long.
I'm trying to stay very strong for Riley. I am here alone. I have no one to turn to.
And like I said with the real estate license thing, this is literally one of the most common plays a narcissist makes, is trying to isolate from your friends, your family, and your support system so that you can only rely on this person. And once you get caught in that cycle, it's very hard to break free of it pretty much until the person stops being obsessed with you and decides to throw you away, much like Ed is doing. Like literally this follows the classic narcissistic relationship, cycle that I'm sure, again, so many viewers have been caught up in themselves. I'm sure a lot of this stuff is actually straight up painful for some of you to watch because you see how damaged Liz is, and I mean, it's so easy for me and other people watching this scenario to be like, oh, why the hell is she continuing with this idiot? But you know, the human brain is complex, so I do have to take into account that it's harder than it looks trying to escape this situation when you feel like you have nothing and nobody to rely on except for the one monster that is just giving you crumbs of happiness here and there. And it all stems from Liz having terrible self-esteem and really just finding herself over and over getting into relationships like this throughout her life to where she thinks that's normal.
Can I have a minute with Riley? Please. Please.
So geez, as they're walking out, Ed requests to have a conversation with Riley himself. This is going to be very awkward and just one of those times where I'm like, why the hell is this being televised? Like, this is such a messy situation. They're handling it again like such children and so terribly that it's just another layer of messed up to have the cameras around, having to film this kid go through this really confusing time in her life where somebody's being brought in as a kind of father figure that she ends up, you know, actually getting some love for, only to have him go away because he doesn't love mommy anymore. Like, oh, this is just so sad.
I just want to apologize. I'm not sure when I might get to see you again.
I accept your apology.
She's like, accept your apology if it means that I don't have to be around you and hear you wheezing anymore. I guess that's a good deal for me. Like, the only thing we can hope is that this girl didn't get to have enough time to really connect with Ed, but I kind of have heard things around, you know, in various interviews with Liz and stuff, talking about how that's maybe one of the things that drew her to him so much was the fact that he was able to connect with her daughter on such a visceral level and become a father figure very early on and just, you know, mesh well with her. We did see those scenes where he seems to be very chill when around both of them, at least until the true Ed starts to come out and he just becomes a jerk to everybody in his vicinity, or God forbid you say his dish was too spicy. But yeah, that's really the best you can hope for, and it's, again, just really sad that they're even having this conversation, but I can't get over Big Ed's wheezing in between these words. Bro sounds like he just took a dab that was entirely too hot.
No matter what happens between your mom and I, I'll always love you. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll always be number one at card games.
And man, oh, I gotta say, it's cool that Ed is having this conversation. It is manly of him to at least step up and have this, you know, one-on-one with her and really try to explain that it's not her. But again, as somebody who has been in these shoes many, many times in my life, having to have an explanation of why I'm not gonna see this certain adult in my life anymore, at a certain point, you just become kind of numb to this stuff. And it kind of makes you have a difficulty finding love for people over time anyways, you know what I mean? Like, just because you have that fear deep down that somebody is going to be maybe taken away. So I don't know. Yeah, this episode just has me a little bit emotional, honestly, as I'm seeing this girl go through something that I'm sure many of us have been affected by. And it's crazy, man. But yeah, regardless, I can't really get on Ed too much about this because you know what? He's handling this about as well as you can.
So my fear is that this has negatively impacted Riley in any way, and that would just break my heart if it did.
Dude, chances are it did, and you have to know that going into this, especially when you have to televise your entire relationship, because now the entire history of the messiness that she's partially been around but really hasn't seen the worst of it is televised, and it's like cemented in history now, where millions of people have seen it go down. So of course her daughter is going to be affected by all this. So I guess it's nice that Ed is trying to, you know, act like he didn't want this to happen, but if you truly didn't want it to happen, you shouldn't have even tried to date this woman in the first place. But you know what? Also, this could have been maybe one of the reasons why Ed got cold feet and realized he does not want to ruin this woman's life, because it means that he could also potentially be ruining her daughter's life by, you know, making this divorce devastating years down the road, where he did inevitably see that happening.
You know when you're coming back, or?
No, I don't.
All right, well, you guys have fun.
The trash goes out on Mondays, so put it out Sunday night.
Okay.
And as a final goodbye, Liz just has to parent her ex-lover one more time by saying, hey, by the way, Sunday nights, not that you ever paid attention once when I took the cans out, but that is when you're supposed to take trash and recycling out. Please remember to do that, because you know this man just generates so much waste within a week, eating out every single day. He's probably very wasteful. He's got to get that changed every week, so she's making sure he's on top of that. But that just goes to show the level that this relationship was at. Liz, this is a good thing that's happening to you, you going through this. I know it doesn't feel that way right now, but when you look back and you actually start to succeed in life after this, you're going to be so thankful this all went down the way it did.
I don't like Ed right now. I feel absolutely humiliated, played, used.
Yep, you were definitely used. All those things are valid, Liz, and it does suck that you're feeling it, but this is the hard part you got to get past. Once you get past those feelings, and again, you start to look back with some fresh pair of eyes that have been away from this situation for long enough, you're going to realize just how toxic it was and just how healthy you are now that you are leaving it. And I hope everybody who's stuck in a similar situation like this in their lives realizes that too. It's a hard thing to face, but once you're on the other side, you really will understand that's true.
To have me move here and then break up with me again, it's a huge slap in the face. I mean, everybody gets to finally say again to my face, I told you so. So not a good feeling.
Ooh, that is very awkward because I think I pretty much said that multiple times throughout this video already that, you know, everybody knew the entire time you were going to break up that your heart was going to be broken, but it's true. We did tell you so, but you know what? Nobody needs to say that to your face because right now you are grieving and hurting. And even though these emotions are all happening because of a literal grotesque human slug like Ed, it doesn't take away from the fact that it is painful. So I resonate with your pain, and I do hope you feel better soon, Liz.
But I see absolutely no fight or anything in him. I'm the one hurting. I'm the one crying. I'm the one putting my together to be there for my kid.
Yeah, Ed is just sitting here just completely stone-faced as if he doesn't have any emotions, pretty much completely dropped her. Like he's the kid from Toy Story that just got tired of the, you know, the certain doll that he had. He's just such a monster, dude. The fact that he has no emotions about this whatsoever just shows how truly little Liz mattered to this guy.
You're welcome.
And think about this, Liz. You're seeing this human meatball waddle down the freaking sidewalk. He's huffing and puffing and wheezing his way up his driveway, which has a 0% grade incline, all right? And you are crying over that. You are crying over losing out on that. You need to get your freaking reality checked. You know, I said I was feeling bad for you. Nah. After seeing Big Ed wheeze his way up this driveway and seeing you still cry, I am just like, okay, you're clearly still hypnotized. You need some time away from him. And then you're gonna see just how much you were tripping over somebody that did not deserve it. And dude is like kind of breathing out of his, you know, mouth a little hard to show that he's stressed. That's one of his very common moves he does. He's kind of like an NPC with only a few, you know, different animations. But other than that, Ed still just looks completely emotionless. He's almost like relieved that he doesn't have those two in his house anymore. The house that he bought intending to have a family live in it with him. Like, I just do not get this guy.
It's sad. I'm just really numb, and I need to start my life over again at 58.
This guy is so pathetic, bro. He is really acting like the victim throughout this entire situation. Yeah, you're old as hell and you're single as hell again, and that's probably the way you're gonna go out, but it's not about you right now, dude. Nobody cares about you restarting your life. Liz is the one that needs to restart her life, and it's much more imperative for her because she has her whole life ahead of her, okay? God, this guy is such a scab on her life.
So I now got to think about, do I hire a cleaning lady or do I start, you know, cleaning the house myself?
There's no way, dude. This man is not real. He is not real. TLC, you got some of the best comedic writers I have ever seen, okay? This beats any funny movie out there. Just the delivery of that line alone. This is like some somber music playing. He's like really thinking about the ways that he's gonna have to restart his life as a 58-year-old. And the first thing he thinks of is like, I gotta hire a maid now, or, oh God, I might have to clean the house myself. Oh God. Like it's the most life-altering, earth-shattering thing. I don't give a fuck about that, Ed. Liz has to move back across the country and pick her life up in shambles. You're getting to pay off your mortgage now of the house that you two bought together, and she has to figure out housing, which is like the most stressful thing to worry about, especially in an area like California, where it's much more expensive by yourself. This dude is the biggest loser, bro. I cannot handle this. I really cannot handle his existence right now. Everything about this man just brings negativity to the entire world.
I'm disappointed, obviously. The amount of time that, you know, we both invested trying to make it work.
I will say props to him for at least giving Liz a semblance of credit about the fact that she also worked very hard for this relationship. Granted, they worked way harder than you ever need to work if the relationship is worth a damn, but still, at least he's giving her some credit there.
But I don't feel like I failed. I feel like we both dodged a bullet.
And once again, Ed coming with some absolute facts. I mean, that's the best way to look at it for both of them. They dodged a bullet. Granted, they still got grazed by it. You know, it still caused a major flesh wound. Just, you know, as in the amount of time they've wasted on it already. We spent like half a decade following these two, but still, breaking up no matter what at the end is the best outcome for these two, as Ed can go be a narcissist and ruin someone else's life, and Liz can hopefully start to rebuild hers. So I want to know what you thought of this down in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and if you did, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I'm going to keep following this season as it goes. Next episode looks to be extremely spicy. I think that's when Liz's mom comes to help her move out and things get messy. So, as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and until next time, peace out.